Welcome to COM Orientation and Review. There is a lot of material that we are going to be covering. It may seem overwhelming at first, especially if you are new to the work of the Commission on Ministry. Not to worry. All of this information that we're going to be covering today is in the COM handbook, and we will be giving you smaller documents that give you the same information in bite-sized morsels, and we are going to have opportunities at a later date to have plenty of discussion, plenty of dialogue, and to get your questions answered. We're going to be looking at 6 large categories of information today. It starts with the pastoral vacancy, which requires, in most situations, for the church to call in an interim pastor. And then the interim pastor leads the session and the congregation through a mission study, which eventuates in a pastor nominating committee being called, and the pastor nominating committee writes the ministry information form. And then they have the pastoral search, which leads to choosing and electing a pastor, and then installing that pastor, in most circumstances, as the pastor of the church. And then finally, the 6th category, we're going to look at a whole kind of laundry list of other tasks that are the responsibility of COM. Before we look at the different tasks of COM, though, we need to cover the acronyms. It is said the Presbyterian Church has more acronyms than the U.S. military. I'm not sure that's true, but we have a lot of acronyms, and we become acronym central during the pastoral search process. So for those of you who are ruling elders, I want to cover some of those acronyms right now. COM, of course, stands for Commission on Ministry. The key word there is commission. We have the ability to act with the authority of Presbytery. And then CPM is for those seminarians who aren't yet ordained, but will be coming under the COM influence. CPM is Committee on Preparation for Ministry. And then we have the PNC, the Pastor Nominating Committee. The APNC, the Associate Pastor Nominating Committee. A personal information form, that's the form that pastors fill out and put on the national website for the search process. There is the ministry information form, also referred to as a myth and a pith. The myth is the form that a church fills out and puts on the same national website. That national website is called the Church Leadership Connection, or CLC. The CLC is important because they're the ones that process all of the search configurations. You have the BOP, Board of Pensions, which for most of our pastors and most of our churches, they will be supplying pension and major medical through the BOP. And then you have the EP and SC. The EP is the Executive Presbyter, which in our presbytery we call Presbytery Pastor. But this is important because before any pastor is allowed to come into our presbytery, there needs to be an EP reference check. This is our assurance that people don't have a history and baggage that we don't know about before they come our way. And finally, there's the SC, the stated clerk, and the stated clerk has to attest to all personal information forms before they are allowed onto the CLC. Again, that is our checks and balances accountability to make sure that we are not passing along bad actors to another presbytery and they're not doing the same to us. This has been a long presentation. I thank you for your patience. I've thrown a lot of material your way. There's a lot of information to manage and to sort through. I guess you have questions. If so, let the discussion begin.